Magical Theory podcast time.
One day I will figure out what the audio cue is for
Magical
it.
Theory?
But
Magical Theory?
I always edit it afterward.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
That's funny. I was literally just listening to a clip from Conan's podcast, and they were literally talking about intros, doing the intro. And they were basically talking about like how he's goofing around. They have a comedy podcast, and they're about to start, and he's just like, hello. He gets really serious, and they're like, why do you get so serious?
Is Jeff a secret beatboxer?
Oh, it's no secret. I am not.
I was like, what's going
boots
on there?
And cats and boots and cats and boots and cats.
Yeah, that's the beatboxing you wanted, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So, this week was absolutely exhausting for me. I don't know about you as well, but for all you obviously Wizarding World fans, Hogwarts Legacy, we got over 14 minutes of gameplay. Some more like details from the team. And yeah, they are very active on social now. They just tweeted earlier this morning about potions class or cauldrons or something. I don't know. I didn't read it, but things are moving. We got a release date window, holiday 2022. We got
St. Patrick's Day wasn't it, but maybe April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah, so
this is my ongoing joke.
They announced this on St. Patrick's Day, and that was like the whole chat was like, "Well, they didn't say which holiday. It could be this. It could be that."
I did see a German version that said Winter 2022 instead of holiday.
So even before
Winter,
when we were talking about, I was like, "Yeah, it's probably gonna be winter," but I still reacted the way that I did because I was hoping that I was wrong. I was like, maybe not, but given that it's like end of March already.
Yeah, just go at this pace for the next 9 months.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone what was it? There was
9
something
months and 5 days.
There was something I recorded. I felt like my energy was like visibly low, but I don't know if it's because
Was it yesterday's demoed maybe?
Maybe a little bit, but I think it was
or
the
maybe,
video
last night when
the
we
FAQ
played
video.
Oh
no, last night when we played D&D, you'll have to find out what happens in that episode.
A great episode. The strategy was magnificent.
All I'll say is that I love playing a druid. It's like, it's super fun because I have options. Yeah, so there's a lot there.
Well,
our internet died.
Yeah, that was a process.
The day before they were gonna do the
So I
stream.
traveled.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
So I was out of town until Tuesday. Came back. Internet goes down. Rip fancy internet. Yes.
Yep.
And
it came back that evening, but it was like the most stressful.
It was not good timing
like
for
6 hours that I had because I was literally just scrambling around.
Well, it was very impressive, and no wonder you're tired. It wasn't just this, but this was sort of unpredictable.
Yeah.
Which was because the internet went down and you wanted to make that what is this statue video?
I was in the middle of editing my video.
Transport everything onto other computers, other internet.
My setup. I took my mic.
Everything.
Yes.
And you did it.
I did.
And it was a good success because I still have questions about that statue. And we have a new video that's probably going to come out tomorrow. Potentially.
Yes. After this, we are full on like.
Yeah, I worked on that a lot yesterday to sort of get the guts of it, and now we have to make it the style and the conclusions that we want.
But we're being very vague because I think we're both very excited about it.
It's the beginning of a process, but it's a magical theory / WizardPhD. It's kind of an obvious choice.
We need another jingle for not podcast. Like magical theory.
It's magical theory time. Beautiful. Tuxkev.
Thank you. What's going on?
You do need like a magical briefcase in which there is just a streaming setup and you just pop it open.
Oh my god. I have a briefcase. It's a Wizards Unite one. And then just be like,
I like that briefcase. It's nice. Yeah. So it's very exciting. We have no shortage of things to be talking about, and everyone chatting in Discord has been fantastic, and lots of cool ideas flying about.
So also,
good inspiration.
For St. Patrick's Day, we ended up getting some green beers, but
we did.
The thing that I just remembered, because I told you this in the car, is that Fantastic Beast was also having a week.
I know.
And like I wasn't even paying attention too much to that because I was all wrapped up in Hogwarts Legacy. So it was a week for the wizarding world for sure.
The green beer story can be where we transition in, but we went to B-Dubs. It was St. Patrick's Day.
Buffalo Wild
We were
Wings.
trying to. That's correct.
Just we were
trying to. Yes.
Okay.
We were trying to, just unwind, get some dinner. We ordered the beer, and they're bringing it out, and we see another table, kind of kitty corner to us. They have green beers, and I'm like, oh, they're doing green beers.
Yep.
So like, bring the beers,
and they weren't green.
And we're like, can you make them green?
Well, it's
and she was totally into it. She's like, oh, of course. Yes.
Jeff is always so funny because like he doesn't want to burden any of our servers. I mean, both of us are this way. Like we're just like, oh, it's fine. Like we'll deal with it. Like I don't take it back. It's fine. And she's like, I can just walk over there and put in a drop. It's not a big deal. We're like, okay.
Yes, it was a bigger debate than it needed to be because she was basically like, oh, I'll go do it. And I'm like,
yeah,
no.
It was totally.
That's the Irish in me. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Speaking of holidays and Irish, why don't we? Well, I don't know if Irish fits in here, but like,
sure, why not?
Why don't we get into it?
Wands ready. Turn to page 403. The Yule Ball. Today's lesson is called Drama and Dancin. The chapter it's a long one. The chapter begins with Harry enjoying the start of the holidays and taking time to relax. On Christmas morning, Dobby wakes him up and they exchange sock presents. Pigwidgeon returns with Sirius's response, and Hermione still won't say who her date to the ball is. On the day of the Yule Ball, Harry and Ron meet with their dates, Parvati and Padma Patil. Harry and Parvati join the champions and their dates, Fleur with Ravenclaw Roger Davies, Cedric with Cho, and Krum with Hermione.
Oh, snap.
Oh! The whole school seems stunned by this revelation, but nobody is bothered more than Ron. Harry navigates the dinner conversations among the judges, one of whom is now Percy Weasley, for the absent Barty Crouch, and with Parvati's help, he also survives the first dance. The rest of the night is filled with different drama. Parvati and Padma go dance with Beauxbatons boys, Snape and Karkaroff argue, and Ron and Harry overhear Madame Maxime and Hagrid as Hagrid shares that he is half-giant. But nothing is more visceral than Ron's lightning-fast accusations against Hermione and his blow-up about her going to this dance with Krum. The dramatic night portends a painful morning, with Harry in the middle of his best friends fighting.
Classic Harry.
Classic Ron.
Classic Ron.
Twice in the same school year. Once with Harry, once with Hermione.
Ron is very consistent with how he
immaturely deals with things.
Yeah. Hermione's teeth.
Yes.
And Ron noticed.
Yes.
Ron was as soon he's just like, Hermione, your teeth. Which, I mean, Ron has been, yes, yeah. I like how, so Hermione's parents are literally dentists, and she just kind of like, I like the way that it's written because she's like talking about it. She's like, I imagine her over-explaining kind of like to defend what she did, and she's just like, blah, 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 yeah, my parents are going to be happy about it because they're dentists and magic, and then she's like, oh, look! Change the subject immediately.
Let's actually get into this because there's a lot that I'd love to unpack here. So Hermione, Madame Pomfrey is helping her.
Yes.
And Madame Pomfrey apparently is able to perform what is the equivalent of magical plastic surgery. Okay. So she changes the way Hermione looks, apparently without any repercussions. It strikes me as there's some inconsistencies going on here that I think are really interesting, because we learn, like, for instance, Eloise Midgen tries to remedy her... No, Eloise Midgen
different
tries to remedy her acne. Like, it doesn't really work. Harry didn't get his eyes fixed for whatever reason. What I'm trying to get at is there must be some kind of black market
Yeah, for the rich
bow
people, and
tie.
they're like the Hunger Games people, and that's what they look like. It's an underground secret society. I don't know.
That's very interesting, though, right?
Well, so going also back to that, that means that Draco did a permanent change to Hermione's teeth. If it was
Well, it
like,
was a curse or jinx.
yeah,
It
but
wasn't just reverting on its own.
yeah,
Maybe it
like
would
a
have over
timer
time.
or something.
Like an egg timer.
Like ding. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know. It just strikes me as an interesting part of this. We've talked about it before of like the ability to change your appearance at will, but people don't really do it. It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, because what we've seen so far, well, yeah, I guess you wouldn't want to permanently. So like a lot of the mischief stuff is like temporary because like you don't want to permanently change your appearance, I guess.
Like the Weasley things as well with the tongue and the canary and stuff.
Well, yeah, that or I'm thinking Polyjuice back to when they tried to get into the
Right.
Slytherin common
Right.
room and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also imagine that you would have to be skilled to do certain kinds of magic. So the Eloise
Yes.
thing, like, yeah, the acne is not going
Right.
away because
Right.
you're not a powerful enough witch or
I'm
something. I
totally
don't know.
on board with that. I suspect that most potions like Polyjuice and different things, there's a lot of temporary tattoos, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a very strong witch or wizard to produce permanent appearance changes, like
Mm-hmm.
what Madame Pomfrey did here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there would probably be a business for it.
Well, it's interesting because like so thinking about barriers to like why doesn't everyone like change their appearance in our society? I mean, it costs a lot of
It
money.
does. It does.
And then there are also like medically some risks with certain kinds of surgeries that you
Yes.
do with I mean, did we watch that? We watch a lot of documentaries. I feel like we've seen
Yes.
something like that's related to I think it was more about body image.
Yes,
and,
yes, yes. I
and
think it was an explained maybe.
yeah,
It might have been
yeah.
an explained.
So, but if magic, so I'm thinking about like an equivalent or something similar. So going back to D&D, there are material costs that are involved with like magic type things. I'm not sure to what extent, because Madame Pomfrey, like I imagine that she has the wealth of resources for any sort of material things, like to make different kinds of potions or whatever to heal or fix or whatever. But I'm not sure. Or maybe
I like
they
this
just like
idea
the way
that
they
she's
look.
like over Hermione's teeth, and as she's doing this, it's like consuming some expensive resource like
Yeah,
through her
yeah.
wand or something.
Charge it to the Hogwarts bill.
Yeah, Scaligro or something. Yeah. But
Mhm.
I bring it up and linger on it because of course appearance changing is a huge part of this story, this
Mm.
particular book.
Yep.
And we do know that that particular storyline, which I guess is the heart of it, is expensive and will
Oh, yeah.
involve actually thievery
Yep.
at later points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, oh, I forgot to go back to my notes.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Oh no, I was moving on to the
I'm ready to move on. I could go on that for a while. But yeah.
conjunctivitis curse. Because when we were going deep into spells, we were looking at conjunctivitis for little dragons. And I just want to point out there is a little subtle note or moment where Hermione notes that Krum did that. Whereas before, anytime Krum would come up or anything related to Krum, it was I feel like it was more obviously in, anger or just like, I don't want to talk about this person, like whatever. So
yeah,
just a little like at the beginning of the chapter, it's Krum. She's going to the ball with Krum.
The Kruminator.
The Kruminator. And then
which they did my boy Krum dirty in the illustrated version of the book. You showed me all the champions
before, but actually, so Zier posted in Discord. Somebody did like artwork for all the characters based on the descriptions in the book, and the artist who drew Krum in that one looked more similar to the one in our illustrated book because I think
version.
than the movie version.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I'm pretty sure that's what he looks like. He looks like just
He
some
skulks
scrawny
around.
emo kid that's
He's like
like
Snape.
stalking you. I don't know.
Snape, but good at Quidditch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get to Christmas. So basically this whole chapter of 30 pages is Christmas.
It's 3 scenes. I mean, it's...
But it's the whole day of Christmas.
Yeah.
And Harry wakes up
To the Dobbo.
to the dumpster. That would be so creepy. You just have a little, I mean, to be fair, I do have a little Dobby that kind of hovers over me when I wake up, but
Yes.
he doesn't have giant eyes. Like,
No, and he does prod you before you wake up because
he'll
he's
just
moving
boot
around
me,
a lot.
like,
It's not like
hello.
he's like stealthing up to your face or anything.
There's a puppy in my face now.
Yeah. The Dobby scene obviously socks. That sock theory, if anyone has seen it, about the metaphor of socks in Harry Potter and like what it kind of stands for, is a beautiful theory. And this scene is really funny. I mean, there's
Is it
just
just
so
that
much
it's
funny about it.
simple and it's like,
It's that socks are a symbol for, like, I don't know, love. It kind of hinges on Dobby's
oh,
relationship to socks and then
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore with the
Mhm.
mirror, yes.
Mm-hmm. Seamus is just like, oh, Harry, you getting attacked again? Like, no big deal.
You dead, bro? Oh, okay.
we'll
No,
just
presents. I'm up.
resurrection stone. Yeah. So the thing that I asked Jeff earlier this morning was, how did the kids get presents at the foot of the bed? And so I was like, oh, house elves, like another thing, because it's like within the confines of Hogwarts. It's like, well, how else would presents get
There's
there?
a mail room and then the...
Well, I wonder if there's like a special,
Teleported up.
like, during the holiday season, like the post office has like a window where it's like, okay, this is the guaranteed delivery by Christmas sort of thing or whatever. I wonder if there's like some sort of well, they don't have a post office really. They just have owls. Like anyone can send an owl.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, I wonder if there's some service that's like, okay, we'll get Golazon. We'll get your kids their presents even when they're away at school, and we will.
Well, there's definitely overnighting.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Malfoys are paying extra because they bought them on the 24th.
but the other
It always
thing,
cracks me up that the Dursleys send Harry something.
okay, I wrote down Harry's
It's
list
so
of Christmas
weird.
presents, but
One
the
tissue.
other thing that I wrote down was Santa, because Father Christmas
Believe in Santa.
is mentioned. There's Father Christmas and the reindeer and all this stuff. So I had some questions. I didn't go diving
Santa
deep,
be a wizard.
but I did a very, surface level Google search. Other people also had the same question about is Santa a wizard? Like, how does that fit in terms of like the storytelling
Yes.
and the lore and like
Yes.
the wizarding world and whatever. And because people were talking about, well, of course there would be some sort of like Santa Christmas as this, like that's in the Muggle world, so like maybe they just adopted it and it's this whole thing, it's part of the decor and tradition and whatever.
Right.
But it's just funny because like these kids do magic, and then it's like, well, a man with a bunch of reindeer in a cart go all around the world.
Well, they probably envision him as a wizard.
So it's
But
more
they
like
also,
accepted.
yeah.
But they don't talk about Santa
No, they don't.
because it's clear that it's from people. It's
So they
like,
maybe
this
it's
person
that
gave
kind
me
of
this.
hybridizing where it's like, oh, it's the holiday of giving, and we'll call it Christmas, but it doesn't have the same type of iconography because they don't need it. They don't need a magical being. They know there's magical things, so it's just like, just give each other gifts.
Yeah.
Because there's no presents that are like from the mysterious Santa, right? It's all from people. You know who sent what.
So it's more symbolic. It's like,
except for
Santa.
Dumbledore in the old cloak. Doesn't sign it.
No, because as Dumbledore does, not as one does, just Dumbledore straight up.
Gotta keep some mystique.
Harry's Christmas presents. Socks from Dobby, which I thought were adorable. I would definitely wear these.
Yes, you would. Yes.
You have one that is red with broomsticks on it, and the other that's green with snitches on it. Like, actually, I wonder if there is official merch where it's like packaged socks
I
for
bet
Dobby.
there is, yeah.
We should look for them.
I mean, it's so cute. Dobby is
so nice.
just got that purity of spirit that we all seek sometimes, of just like there's no hidden motive. He just wants to give his friend something that means something, that reflects how he feels. And there's some great symbology in there of the gift of clothes. Of course, Dobby would think to give clothes. There is no better gift than clothing that you could give, because of what it means to him and his people. So it's very, very cute. And Ron giving the socks to Dobby is also cute, because that what felt instinctual, and yet it's validated at such a high level by Dobby as like that was instinctual, but what a great instinct. Like Dobby's just like, oh, they match, and then Ron's like, oh, well, have these two and you can mix and match. And he's just like, you're just gonna give me socks like without a second thought? What a wonderful thing.
And those socks Ron got as a present.
I
It
know.
was described as like recently or opened or whatever. And he's
From
just
his
like,
mom,
here you
I
go.
think.
Yeah. Which I think, it's fine.
I think he gives Dobby the sweater too, right?
Yeah, but I think that was
clear.
That was on purpose.
Yeah.
I think it was
He
intentionally
gives them
for
both, right?
Yeah,
The
no, he
socks
gives them
and the
both.
sweater.
Yeah. Yep.
I imagine the sweater does not fit. I mean, nor do the
No, I thought
the
that the Dobby
socks.
it was made for Dobby. Oh, maybe I misread it. I don't know.
That was not my interesting.
I was reading fast this morning.
It's a long chapter.
It was.
Very long chapter.
Next we have, you mentioned already, the single tissue from the Dursleys, and I just wrote, why bother? Well, it's because they're manipulative. I almost said a bad word, but
they're just needling from afar.
It's just, you don't need to send anything, but this is what you choose to send because you are the worst humans that I have ever encountered, minus the Malfoys.
No, that's Vernon.
Then we have Hermione give a book, Quidditch teams of Britain and Ireland.
Yep.
Because Harry loves Quidditch, we know that. Dung bombs
from
Ron. Oh, Ron. A penknife.
Harry gives Ron a hat. A Quidditch hat. Chudley cannons. That clashes with his hair. The penknife seemed cool. Yeah, I was digging that. It's like, what a neat idea.
A bunch of sweets from Hagrid. As much as I whine about the bad flavors in Bertie Bott's, I mean, the witches and wizard kids seem to love them a lot.
I'm going to pause for just 1 second and talk about the penknife again, because I think it's related to this idea earlier with Hermione's teeth, which is that enchantments do deteriorate. Like, we learn about the invisibility cloak and how it is unique in the sense that it has not deteriorated. That, like, invisibility cloaks aren't rare. They're rare, but they're not unheard of. But they all break down.
Well,
in a similar way, I imagine that it's more expensive, made by the stronger witch or wizard who enchants it, because it lasts longer and is, that type of thing. So maybe that's what's going on. Like, I was wondering about that penknife. How expensive was it to enchant something that has this enchanted little whatever they're called, add-ons to unlock any lock and untie any knot or whatever?
Well, so now you're making me think about the like actual physical thing and then the magic imbued in it. So like invisibility cloaks are woven from demiguise hair.
Yes.
So, but there's also like elements of it's not just like, oh, let me just take some demiguise hair and like I'm invisible or whatever. There's something else that's involved with it.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, sorry. Were there any more? The jumper
and mince pies from Mrs. Weasley, and the jumper had it was green and had a dragon.
The dragon, yeah, very sweet.
So that was Christmas morning, present time. Go downstairs, I guess. Well, I don't know. Is this the Yule Ball time? They see, or Harry sees that Crouch was not there.
That's at the dinner, yeah.
Oh, dinner. So it's like
once they meet up with
evening.
The dates, and Ron has tailored his.
And Hermione leaves early and all that.
And they meet up with Parvati, and then they're gonna meet Padma. So they go down, and they're there, and they're ready for the dance. And then there's a dinner first, which isn't, I don't think, portrayed in the movie really. It just goes straight
It
into the
goes into
dance.
it's fanfare and
But
then
this
it's
is dinner
the dance.
first, and this is where Harry sits at the champions table with the judges, including Percy.
Oh, Percy. Percy's back. Good.
Yeah.
The dinner, so you mentioned it's not portrayed in the movies, but there is some interesting stuff going on at that table. I wrote a very important quote down that I am sure I'm going to speak with you at length after this podcast.
Oh?
Okay, so Karkaroff speaks to Dumbledore.
Yes.
And they're talking about what happens is that Krum is like all excited talking to Hermione, telling her about what the grounds are like, or there's mountains and lakes and they fly around them, and then Karkaroff's like,
Durmstrang.
yeah, and he's like, don't give too many details away, she's gonna find out where we are. And Dumbledore kind of makes a comment back being like, yeah, what's the deal, like calm down. And Karkaroff says back to Dumbledore, "We are all protective of our private domain, are we not? Do we not jealously guard the halls of learning that have been entrusted to us?
Well, go ahead.
Are we not right to be proud that we alone know our school's secrets and right to protect them?" To which Dumbledore is kind of like, he just kind of goes like, "Oh,
well,
like I don't know all the
doesn't
secrets."
have a great leg to stand on here, because in my recent research, there's a couple of things that stand out. There's a ton of protective enchantments, and one around Hogwarts and most wizarding schools, and one of the main ones is unplottability, the unplottable.
Yeah, because you don't want muggles to find you. You don't want
also you can't show it on a map, so like you can't. Yeah, I don't know how. I wonder, as we learn about the Fidelius charm, I can't remember, later, the secret keeper business for Order of the Phoenix, if Hogwarts has that, and did Dumbledore have to like give them a map that like to allow them to get there? Because both of the schools obviously travel. Yeah, it's just really interesting. I mean, there's a lot going on in that discussion.
Yeah.
Because then Fleur also talks about Beauxbatons and like the ice sculptures and all this, and Roger Davies is just, thirsty.
Look, Fleur seems like the worst person in this chapter. Like, she is so
she's not very
snobby.
fleshed out well now.
Yeah,
right
she's
now.
just like, oh, it's better over here. Oh, this is too heavy. Oh, like, it's just, girl.
She has strong opinions.
Do you need to voice your strong opinions?
Very much in contrast to Krum, who's more like, well, it feels like an open book of like, oh yeah, no, like we like Hogwarts and the Durmstrang fires aren't even lit.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Krum seems like an introvert, like better in
like
one-on-one
you break
scenarios.
the rule by making your room warm. Fun.
Yeah, that to me was like, I was imagining like the coldness of that. Like it's not home. Like it's not welcoming. It's not like cozy or whatever. Yes. It's just like, oh,
supposed
this
to
is
harden
business.
You. That's like probably part of their philosophy. Hermione.
Oh gosh.
Also, are we on to it now, or what else?
Ludo Bagman comes up in this chapter as well, with the twins.
Yeah.
In the background.
Yeah, Ludo.
And Percy's just like so excited that he has been promoted and he's just oblivious to anything that might seem a little off, or like what's, Bagman tried to talk to Harry but got interrupted,
say that Percy is a full subscriber to meritocracy. He believes he earned this.
Yep.
And he will believe in the next book that he earns the good things that happen to him in that book.
And not only that, he's got to tell everyone about it.
And in fact, I think we learn in Order of the Phoenix that it is one of the breaking points between Percy and his parents is when his parents question whether he's been given this promotion because of who the Weasleys are to Harry Potter.
It's funny because Ron basically makes this argument to Hermione about Krum.
Yes.
of like, well, because we're close to Harry.
But I don't think Ron actually thinks
No,
that.
he doesn't. He's
He
just
is just not stating
grabbing
that
everything
he
he can.
is jealous, very,
He
very
is
jealous.
so jealous.
I don't think
I
Mr. and
kind of
Mrs. Weasley are jealous of Percy.
This is like the worst thing though. Ron idolizes Krum
I know.
and like was so excited
I
that he
know.
came to Hogwarts. Finally, like Krum comes up and he's just like salty. And it's like, dude, you
Yep.
had your chance to be best friends forever, but no.
Yep.
Can't.
And as
Not
we
in
know
the
from
cards.
Wizard Unite, he holds on to it for another 20 years. So good
Constant
for him.
Pickering. The
Good for him.
troll.
Good way to grow up. As we know, people as adults are the same as they were as kids. So if you didn't grow up by now, you're not going to grow up later for the most part.
Yeah. There are lots of also like world kind of fleshing out historical things that are dynamics and things. There was a mention of the international ban on dueling, which made me immediately think about Hamilton. Because it's just like, yeah, no, we can't duel people in the streets. Like, this is not what we do. Like, that's what I'm imagining. Because clearly they have dueling club, but it's not like to the death or whatever.
Looks like we're going to have dueling club in Hogwarts Legacy.
Or at least yeah. We did see.
Was that little clippy?
We did see. The beetle comes up as just a line. There's a beetle that Harry sees. And then we, in the end of the chapter, get into some giant history of Hagrid talking about his parents, and it's just this whole thing. And of course, Harry's just like, okay, like the
I love
reveal
Harry's
of the half
recognition.
He knows
of
that
Ron's tone.
It's a feeling that he's felt before, and he's like,
oh, here it comes.
Okay, I guess
it's going to be the mudblood conversation all over again.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, it is the same, and it again illustrates that being an outsider often frees you from the prejudices of insiders. The prejudice against mudbloods, the prejudice against half giants, the prejudice against werewolves. Even when Harry discovers that Lupin is a werewolf, it doesn't matter to him at all. Even when he thinks Lupin is the bad guy, he's like, oh, well, the werewolf part is irrelevant. It's about the character of the person that he cares about.
Yeah.
When he thinks he betrayed, James.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, okay, now I'm reflecting back on his reactions to, I don't know if it's because it's Hermione, but like with the spew stuff with the house elves, because he's not, I guess like he is pretty consistent because it's like not a thing that he really, he's indifferent towards, because it's just like, well, it doesn't make sense to him to be all gung-ho like Hermione, like, let's start a revolution. And then he's also, I don't think, on the side of, or like, recirculating the discourses that Ron does about they're happy, they like it, right? It's more like
I would agree with that. So he's not as passionate about this as Hermione is, but I think he probably from a perspective gets Hermione more than Ron.
Yeah.
It's similar to the Durmstrang Krum thing. Like, okay, obviously, like Ron's feelings aren't about him being from Durmstrang, but maybe a little bit colors his opinions or the willingness to be like, this guy's just evil. Whereas Harry's just like, Ron, it doesn't bother me, and Ron just ignores him.
Poor Harry, he's just trying.
He is, because he was even at the end of the chapter, he's like, he was too happy being back on speaking terms with Ron to like jeopardize it. But isn't that classic, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to sacrifice your principles. If you think your friend is wrong, you should tell him. That's caring. Nevertheless,
it's complicated. Well, Ron wouldn't have listened to him anyway. It just would have been like another
it
fight.
Would have spiraled.
Like, oh, you don't understand, blah blah blah. Whatever.
Well, it was a well-written scene because Ron's ability to hopscotch between arguments, right? When Hermione parries one off, I can't remember exactly what it is, and then Ron, there's even a line where there's like with lightning speed or whatever, where Ron's just like on to the next argument. Always, yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, you go back.
It's really real.
You go back home trying to like unwind after a great dance, and then you just have two kids screaming at each other.
It's so real it hurts. It is so real it hurts.
What do you think? Like the older years are just like, oh my god,
they probably have their own fights.
Yeah, but probably not in the middle of the common room. Maybe, I don't know. I guess there's not many I mean, it's yeah, we'll see.
Is somewhat the nature of pairing off like that for a dance is like these choices and who
Mhm.
asks who and who goes with
I'm
who, and
telling you,
it hurts people's
have a
feelings.
dance? Just don't have it.
Well,
Have
dancing is
something
fun,
different. Yes,
but
but
you don't have to bring
don't make
dates.
it, like, formal, like, where you have to have dancing
You
and all
just
this
everyone just show
stuff
up.
and show
I
up.
respect Crab and Goyle. They just show up. I mean, Harry is like happy that they didn't get dates, but they could have just stayed in and not gone.
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, I got a bodyguard for Malfoy, but whatever. You know, there's part of it where it's like, yeah, I mean,
Got a
just go.
bodyguard.
Don't let people, shame you like, oh, you didn't get a date, so you're not allowed, or somehow.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like the How I Met Your Mother about going to brunch by yourself. Brunch for one?
Oh.
You can't do brunch for one. Why not? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I digress.
Anyway. And Cedric is returning the favor of helping
That's
out.
right. I didn't even put that in this description, but yeah, big.
Cedric is a prefect. So it is I don't know if there's some pledge that prefects sign probably or like adhere to, but you probably shouldn't be just giving out the prefect bathroom password, but he
Yeah, he
does so,
doesn't care.
he doesn't care. It's part of
Also, yes. So that's the end, but there was a
Yeah.
moment in the middle,
Yeah, I didn't write down
a little
everything.
toss away moment where Moody clocks the socks
Yes.
and Harry says, Dobby, the house elf, gave them to me.
Yes.
It's a very important moment. Actually drives forward the plot quite a bit because Moody, as we know, fake Moody, is gathering intel essentially in order to manipulate circumstances. And this is another piece of intel that he did not have, that Dobby exists and has a relationship with Harry.
I love how was it Parvati? She's the date, right?
Yes.
She was just like,
yes.
oh, that I should not be allowed.
This is classic though. It's the intuition.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, like, I would rag on her in divination because that stuff is nonsense. But this type of intuition, I think, is a bit more real. Being able to read the person in front of you is quite real, and some people are quite good at it. And I think it's interesting. It's interesting to have her sort of clock, like, there is something off about this guy. And it's hard to read whether it's just like his appearance and sort of the awkward nature of it, or whether she's actually getting at, like, there's something wrong here. This isn't a real person in front of me. It's not a complete person. The behavior is inconsistent and strange.
Because we have a lot of wizards who are very eccentric.
Yes.
Like Dumbledore, Moody. Well, I guess like so now I'm trying to think of like the personality. I guess there is like
Newton.
a threshold where there is like kind of not like in the background or just like normal if I could like there is some sort of normality of like how people behave, right? Yeah, and then you have people who are like a little bit beyond that or in this like ways that we kind of reinscribe what normal
creepies.
is, the creepies.
Yeah, I always find them to be in somewhat of a refreshing way anti-norm. Like they're just kind of like, that's not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm the person who's always, I don't care if it's cool to be skeptical and cynical. We're the brothers who are like joyous and doe-eyed, I always appreciated that, even if they're a little annoying to Harry.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
they also sacrificed their lives for him, so there's that.
Well, I mean, I would not want to be Harry Potter and just like live with.
Bro, that is so brutal.
Live with the.
I'm not kidding. All of it at the end of these stories,
yeah.
It is those two deaths that strike me the worst. There's just something about what they represent. Dobby, and then those two. It's like they represent the loss of innocence. They're that not just for Harry, for everyone. There's no going back. You'll never go back. And much more than, all right, we're 3 books.
No, we're just like let's jump to the end.
Remus and Tonks, where it's like, well, these are adults.
They professionally have.
They've lived, some extent of fuller life. And they definitely, neither of them represent the things that the Creevies represent
Well, the
and
whole
Dobby.
thing is like you have children fighting in a massive societal
I
war.
know.
Like it is.
I think part of it too is that in the books in particular, there's a point made of like if you're under 17, you're supposed to leave, and they
Yep.
sneak out in
Yep.
order to fight with their friends and they
Yes.
die.
Yep.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yes. Sad
Anywho,
times.
fun dance though.
Fun dance. All right. Well, that's all that I have. Do you have anything else?
No, that was good.
All right. Until next time.
Once
Wands
ready.
ready.